So in this video I'm going to talk about some custom fins that I purchased about a year ago, and I'm just going to talk about some of the benefits that I've seen from those, and I'm going to run through all of the general fins that I've used over the years, the types of fins. So let's get started. So I started out using plastic fins like most people would when they begin. There are some, I guess, benefits to plastic fins. One, that they can really take a knock and you can scratch the hell out of them. They'll last quite a long time in terms of abrasion, but you don't get some of the, I guess, purchase from a kick compared to some of the higher end fins that you'll get. And over time you will see a white fatigue line start to appear in the actual plastic across the centre. Now that's actually a sign that they're eventually going to break. But that takes a while to get there, and they're really cheap. Great option for starting out, and pretty good if you're mucking around in shallow water, especially off the headlands where you're going to get pushed against the rocks from the waves. So if you don't want expensive fins for that sort of thing, so they're really great. They don't quite kick back into the same position that other fins, which I'll show you. But yeah, a great starting fin. The next type of fin that I've used over the years is the fiberglass, or composite as we sometimes call them. These are slightly better than the plastic because they will actually have a better recoil. Yeah, and there's a lot of layers. When you hold this up to the light, you can see the different layers, and it tapers off, so that gives you more of that elliptical motion that the plastic ones won't quite give you. Now, these have been great. These are dive R fins. I've had them probably for about 13 years, I think. I've used them more than probably most people would ever use fins. I use them for training 3 or 4 times a week, plus diving on the weekends, and all the long trips that I've done, and they've been really great. I have had to re-glue them multiple times because I've had them so long and used them so much, but they're a great option. They're a little bit heavier than some of the other ones that we'll get to, some of the carbon ones, but really pretty rugged. They take a lot of scratches. I've scratched the hell out of them on the reef, and they've lasted a long time. They've been able to take it, and really a good option. They're the mid-price range between the next step. So at the top of the market we come to the carbon fins. Now these are much better fins in terms of responsiveness. They make that wonderful sound and they flick back into place almost immediately. Now that's what you want. You want that responsiveness, so when you actually kick you get more bang for your buck. And they're more lightweight, so that means that there's less stress on the leg muscles when you're kicking, which is much better for just the individual dive, but also throughout the day. Obviously there's some downsides. One is the cost. They're way more expensive, but I have noticed now there is some cheaper options available going up to the top end to the carbon fibre. There's a bit of a range now, and the other thing is you need to look after them, so they're a bit more precious compared to the fiberglass and the plastic fins. They don't seem to like being rubbed against the reef too much, and you don't really want to drop too many things on them in the boat, anything heavy. So other than that, really great option if you're prepared to pay the money for them. And now we come to the custom fins. And by custom, I'm referring to the foot pocket. I had this specifically measured up and made for me. Now these particular fins are Molchanovs. They come out of Moscow in Russia. Molchanov is one of the world champion freedivers. The blades are for the high grade stuff, so you're talking vacuum infusion, high performance. They're actually that good that they're able to shorten them, so they're not as long. They don't have to be as long as some of the other carbon fins around, and these are incredibly lightweight. But that's enough about the blade. So the actual foot pocket, how we actually go about doing that is actually take several different measurements of each foot, left and right, from length across the bridge, measure the start of the arch to the end of the arch, the height of the arch. It's really quite interesting how many different measurements you have to make of your foot before they can actually produce that in the factory for you. And these ones in particular have a gel sensor in here, which I'll show you. One of the unique things about these particular fins is their open heel. That's pretty uncommon for a spearfish fin. The reason they can do that is because everything is binding to your feet here. You don't need that actual heel to leverage off to kick like most other fins. So the actual main part of your foot is where all the pressure is coming, and it binds around the back of your heel. This is really tight, holds into your actually Achilles area, and it helps transfer that power. So that's another little thing that makes them stand out. Once I started using these fins, it was quite interesting and quite comical because I was over kicking. They were so light and a lot shorter, and I was used to heavier, longer fins. So I actually was used to having to really push a bit more, and because of that I was over kicking with these new fins, and it really wasn't that efficient. So once I adopted the philosophy that they have, which is less is more, I was able to actually pick up on that efficiency and really see those gains. And for me, coming up from some of the dives, I would find, normally I'd feel it a little bit in my legs, I'd felt nothing, like it was so easy. So that was really good. And one of the reasons for that is still to do with custom foot pockets, because when you kick in a normal foot pocket, there's a bit of a gap there and you can feel it kind of slip, and that's a loss of efficiency. You're putting energy in, but you're losing it in the kick. And when you have a custom foot pocket, it wraps around much like a running shoe, and then you actually pick up all of that efficiency, transfer it into the blade. It's a much better way to actually adopt that philosophy of transferring every bit of energy into the blade, and then you get the benefit of the push through the water. So that was what I really wanted from these fins when I purchased them, because they are really expensive. They're at the top end plus, and I had to go for a lot of effort and get them shipped from the other side of the world and everything. But I'm pretty happy with them a year in now. They've started to fade, as you can see, faded. But that's just aesthetics, and you expect that over time. So that's an idea of the type of fins you can have and the custom option. If you're starting out, maybe you start out with plastics and work your way up to the fiberglass or carbon fibre, even the custom foot pockets. But some things to note: it depends on your body weight. Get a feel for it, try other people's fins, and find out what works for you.